Bing. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to Team Meeting 25, in which we'll be discussing an update on the marketing position, Daniel's internship with Serious Gaming Company, marketing and web metrics, and I'd like to remind you to subscribe to our channel. And anything we mention in the video, any links we mention, we'll post in the description below. I'd like to remind you, Patricia Peters' Introduction to Professional Kitchen Management will be starting in 13 days. There are still places, so please join us there. And here's over to Rob.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Rob Skiff, and one of the founders of Aplerno. So just those of you who may be turning in for the first time, we try to put as many of our meetings and discussions online and publicly accessible as possible. And so every Monday, today we're doing it on Tuesday because of the Labor Day holiday in the States. We get together and we go over a public agenda for about a half an hour, and then we go into talking about privately a few other things that aren't appropriate for a public meeting, usually having to do with personnel or some sort of internal process that we're working on. So today on the agenda we have the first piece is, and of course I moved there we are. And the first thing we're going to talk about is sending the letter of intent to become a degree-granting institution to the state of Vermont. So I'm putting the final touches on that, and we'll be sending that off by Thursday or Friday. And that starts a clock running for us so that 18 months from now, we have to go through a lengthy process and review, just like we did with our approval process, so that we could offer courses for credit. But we'll be going through that same process with the state of Vermont. And what happens is that they're going to then, once we send in our letter, they're going to contact the Vermont Council on Higher Education, which is made up of the presidents of all of the colleges in the state, both public and private. And what happens is the state subcontracts with them to help us with the review process once we've submitted the documents. And there'll be a site visit, which will be fascinating because, of course, we're virtual, and we're all over the planet. So I don't know, maybe we'll send them over to you, Daniel, and they can hang out in Amsterdam for a while, or to some of our faculty, some of the faculty in Thailand. Maybe they'll take a jaunt there. But it's really exciting that we've reached this point. And again, we've got all kinds of different courses, and last week we talked with people in terms of developing a business program, whether it's certificate or undergraduate program. There's just all kinds of things that are popping up, and by formally announcing that we're going to become a degree-granting institution, that sets the stage for further growth. And we'll be talking a little bit more about that next week, because it'll mean a slight shift in responsibilities and the way we talk about Aplerno to everybody. So we won't be just a course, doing courses for credit or approval. What we'll start to do is be outlining the fact that we have programs that will, once we have been approved by the state of Vermont, lead to degrees and certificates, and that's pretty exciting. So that's the update with the letter of intent. Do you want to talk about the next item on the agenda is your internship?
Yeah, I got a little bit muddled up with the items on the agenda. I was working from an old list and a third list, of course. So I'm currently doing an internship, which is going to last about a month with a company. they needed hands to help them out, and I wanted to learn a new skill. They're a serious gaming company, which means that they for large organizations, telecoms, banks, they create games, but they create games to teach people. So they're really an e-learning company, but using gamification aspects to teach people about the newest products that they have, to teach their own staff about the newest products that they have, but also to teach external people about the newest products that they have. So a good example is a telecom or a telephone producer who would like to have all the shops that sell that telephone know everything about the telephone. So they create a game which people can play and win prizes in, and win prizes as a team, and win prizes as a company. And then of course have incentives. So if they sell more of the telephone of that particular brand of telephone, then they're incentivized to do that. And so they can get even more holiday things. There's even been talk of a holiday to Ibiza, which has been given away. So there's some fantastic stuff going around there. And one of the reasons that I'm here is, of course, to learn the gamification aspect, especially in large, stodgy organizations. It's very important to be able to be fresh and do fresh new things. The reason that, and one of the reasons is, of course, so that we can later apply this within our faculty, whether it's just talking to our faculty and making them aware of the possibilities, if they so choose, or if it's somebody who actually wants to do something entertaining with their own course, to actually be able to implement that and to do a little bit more than just consuming information as a student, which of course we don't like anyway. We like people to be interactive. So this is just adding in a function of interactivity as something that's not per se even available inside a classroom.
So even the gamification is going to have implications, of course, for the portfolio. As that gets further developed and sketched out.
Oh, absolutely. No, I see a lot of possibilities in there for the portfolio, especially our whole idea of being able to take a batch of courses which you've completed and to be able to see which courses you can add onto that to create your certificate, to create your bachelor's program, bachelor's, to create your master's, all these stuff. There's lots of aspects in there which can make it even more fun to discover what value that you can create for yourself.
That's great. Do you get so you're right now in their offices?
Yep.
That's very nice of them to let you use that space.
Yeah, we're in their offices. They're right in the centre of Amsterdam, in an absolutely beautiful location. Maybe 5 minutes walk from Central Station. For anybody who's been to Amsterdam, who might know it. Gorgeous old building. They say it's probably one of the oldest stone buildings in Amsterdam. I'm not completely sure, but
wow. One of the old coffee houses?
No, one of the old warehouses. It's actually on the before the whole of Central Station was built. This was all open water. So this portion right behind me. Yeah, I've closed the windows for the sun. The portion right behind me was the direct connection from to East India and to the rest of Europe, to the Americas, all these places. And to only a couple of meters from here, about 200 meters or 150 yards from here, is where the Beurs is, where all the everything was traded. So one of the first commodity trading, the first commodity traders in the world.
Wow, that is very, very cool. So do we want to give a little, Dan Kirk, do you want to talk a little bit about the CRM that you've, and congratulations for finishing the whole faculty updates. That's awesome. And
Thanks.
you want to talk a little bit about the student CRM that you're also developing?
Sure. So we use a product called Podio or Podio, depending on how you pronounce it, to manage our tasks and our meetings, files, contact, chat. It's really simple but robust, I think, in its possibilities, and we've used it to kind of keep not tabs, but a running conversation with our faculty. So if Daniel emails a faculty member on his email account and I can't see that, he'll update the faculty profile in Podio so that I know what the last communication was in case I then have to contact that faculty member later. It's common in a lot of companies, if you're anyone who has a bunch of clients, which we don't consider faculty clients, but we do communicate across our staff to many of the faculty. So we kind of created our own management system. Some people might be familiar with Salesforce or Kissmetrics or other pricey versions out in the world. We like to do things ourselves a lot of times and save some money, which ends up saving everyone money from faculty to students. So we built one for faculty. It's really simple, but it allows us to be updated across our own staff as to where we stand with each faculty member and their courses and their email addresses and all that. And I'm going to create one for students as well. It's not going to be at all, I guess, invasive. I don't know what the right word is. We're not going to keep any student information other than just a way to get in touch with them.
We're not going to do the grades.
No.
There might be notes on again, as Dan said, contact information and some notes about where they're at in the process, but we're not going to keep any confidential student records on this CRM. Even though you're the only one, you, myself, and Daniel are the only ones that can access it. Faculty are not going to be able to access the student CRM.
Right. The only thing, yes. Grades will only be stored on Canvas between you and your faculty member. It's teachers and students. So yeah, that's just going to help us know who signed the student enrollment agreement, what stage they did, when they did, how to get in touch with them. It's simple, but it allows us to search quickly. It doesn't mean we're waiting through our own email addresses or waiting to hear back from someone else as to the last contact made. So that's kind of the operational sort of mini infrastructure that we're moving toward after we finally finished the faculty CRM. And when new faculty come on, when they fill out their little profile page, that automatically gives them a CRM entry for us, which ultimately just saves a Plurno staff time, which allows us to concentrate on your courses, helping you build those, giving you feedback. So by creating these systems, we hope to free ourselves up from data entry and allow us to dive in more with courses and contact directly with our community.
And you saved us a tremendous amount of operating capital because we didn't have to deal with Salesforce. You produced your own product, and so that's awesome what you've done. With the faculty CRM and now the student CRM. Yeah, awesome. Hugs is what we say. Okay. Let me tell, we've got last week you might have seen on our feeds a wonderful article in Times Higher Ed that got pushed out that they wrote about us, which actually probably I'm jumping the gun because that will probably be talked about in Web Metrics. And then also a wonderful article that Dan Kirk wrote on farming and on education. And check that out on our blog, and check that out also online. We try to do a whole bunch of different things, and having Daniel has been all over us to produce more content, and now we have a little more time to produce some original pieces, and that's what Dan Kirk has done. I've thrown out a blog entry and such. But yeah, no, we're going to try to put out a whole lot more of those types of updates, which was great. And I think the Times Higher Ed was, besides the Chronicle, has probably been, the most prestigious, place that we've gotten an article written about us. So that's great. Do you want to talk a little bit about marketing in the web metrics, Daniel, or do we want to,
Oh, no, certainly. In the last period, we've been doing a lot with marketing. I've been very focused on most of the Planner-ons, with the exception of last week, on activating faculty to also market their courses, and we've seen a lot of things happening. For the courses, which are currently going to start on the 15th, most have been very busy, very enthusiastic publishing work. There was a fantastic piece, absolutely hilarious, by Professor Troutman. I was in heaps. The images that they put in there, and of course Professor Peters' course. Pat Peters, British Peters, she had a very interesting article on her conversion from teaching to cooking, which was also very, very entertaining.
And we also had our first students walk through the entire process to register for a class. So we now have money coming in, which is great. That's which is an awesome thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was very excited about that. Of course, we've known this for a while, but we've never not been able to say it. So this is also one of the things that have incentivized also our faculty members who might have known a little bit more about it than to actually, or the faculty members who are coming along, to actually activate themselves. And it really made me enthusiastic, and it made them enthusiastic. And we're actually seeing that back in the numbers as well. The amount of people who are coming onto the course. I recently did an Planner-on and a follow-up blog post, and there was some discussion on Canvas about it, about the metrics, and just really see that people are getting it and seeing that it's not just that's not unlike a traditional institute. Students aren't going to walk into the door. There isn't an organisation which is spending large quantities of money trying to attract students. That's very much also up to them to get students that they would like to have in their course and people that they would like to teach, because that's of course fantastic if you can have students that you would like to teach rather than having students just handed to you.
I'm working on right now a little article, a blog entry on sort of the new faculty profile. Okay, so basically in the previous system, faculty were given students by the institution, okay, by the brand, and students were buying the brand, okay, they were buying the reputation of the institution that they were going to. Well, now, since we've kind of upended that, and a lot of people have the access directly to the faculty member to look at their courses, look at their backgrounds, look at the student reviews and all of that. Now the most successful faculty members are going to be, the ones who get the word out and are, I wouldn't call it self-promotion, but then, that's a good word to describe it. Pat Peters is a scholar practitioner. Okay, she's a cook, but she knows her business. Okay, Greg Sadler, another one who is a scholar practitioner, and so they already have kind of like followers, and they're activating their networks to attract the students. That doesn't mean that other faculty members aren't going to be successful as we get larger and larger, and we become better known as a place where you can get the kind of small classrooms and high touch, in terms of the small classrooms, the individualized help, that people aren't going to be attracted and then going into the system, and you'll get courses, you'll get students taking your class. But really, you have to get out there and put some stuff online, activate your networks, activate your contacts, and that's how you're going to be more successful. And which leads me into the marketing piece and an update on the marketing position. I would say that with the exception of, so I knew Dan Kirk from previous work at UVM, and knew he was an absolutely to quote Ferris Bueller, righteous dude, okay, to have working with us. Daniel, I found on AngelList from someone actually, Adrianus, who originally checked out the job and then referred me to Daniel, and that was really successful. And I knew that we needed at Aplerno a really good, computer programmer, business person, thinker, and someone who was committed to education. So yes, he was also a righteous dude. Now this marketing position is really tricky. Okay, in terms of the hiring piece, I've been generally going through AngelList, AngelCo, and searching on different criterion that they have there. By the way, if you are looking for a job or have your own business, check out AngelList. It's amazing. It's an amazing resource. And so you have all these people, thousands of people listed, and you can put different criterion down, and then you get a listing of those people that fit that criteria. And I go through and I say, hey, I ask for an introduction. Would you be interested in working with us? Or they actually come and they see our profile, and they send out an ask. They ask to be introduced to Aplerno. Now, we're not talking. I've had some people who've applied and asked, and their strategic plan for marketing is sort of the same old, meaning, hey, follow the traditional higher ed route for the marketing. And the problem with that is that most higher ed institutions, like we've said, are located in one place, and so you can kind of spread the word by doing advertising in print media in the traditional way to build up your brand, to build up your reputation, and that's not going to work for us because we can't afford to put posters or do mainstream media on every place on the planet. We have to use the networks that faculty and students have to start activating the piece. So it's a different kind of marketing position. Plus, there's also some other things which some other experiments which I'm doing to find out. Well, how does Aplerno itself get involved in these networks? And it's tricky. It is really tricky because this marketing position is extremely important for us, and we also, So, we're doing fine with the search, but we're not going to rush it to just hire anyone. The people that we want to work with, they're really going to be pros, and we're getting closer and closer. We've got a few some candidates in the pipeline, but it's not a traditional. This is not a traditional position. We really need a fourth member of the team, who's really integral to making Aplerno successful. But we've had some emails from faculty member, hey, you need to hire so and so, or hire a person like this. Guys, we're all over it. I know that we need a really top-notch person for the marketing. We've got to be patient and find the right person and not rush it. So that would be the marketing update. I want to just briefly mention, do check out our profile on AngelList, for jobs that might be listed, and just for general information. It's more of an investors/job seekers site if you're part of the startup community, but you can get some background on our on our finances and what we're up to. So I think that's it. Do you guys want to add anything in terms of?
I'll put the link for AngelList in the description.
Okay. Do you want to add, Dan or Daniel? Do you want to add anything, to what I said about those last two pieces?
It's really word of mouth is just the only thing that I really want to add. It's all about, for us. It's all about word of mouth. So get the word out, and if that's what we need our marketeers to do as well, just get the word out, and whether it's their own network or whether it's using tools to do it, that doesn't really matter. It's about getting the word out.
Yeah, we had one faculty member a couple of weeks ago ask me if we had a business card template, and we don't per se. Well, we don't. We could make one, I guess. But I told that person, I said, hey, go on the website, just right-click on the logo, save it as a image file, and design your own little Vistaprint card or one of those free offerings. You get 250 or something cards, and I know business cards are kind of very analog or 1.0 or however, I do think that even if you get a couple bytes out of those 250 cards, you're spreading the logo, you're spreading the name, you're spreading the idea, and like we said with that recruitment article, a lot of companies ended up signing up, not a lot, but one very successful company ended up signing up a lot of their first users face-to-face, just like you would a piece of paper. So using those, understanding that we're still very much a society and species that connects socially and physically in person. We can blast the internet with all we want, but we're all on the internet. We see how much stuff we breeze over every day, and it might be a more meaningful, even though labor-intensive process to connect face-to-face, person-to-person with people within your network or your geographical space. So don't be afraid to resort to more traditional ways of connecting with people just because we're online.
Yeah, and one of the things to also keep in mind is that lots of institutions spend 20 and 30% of their, I know one institution that spends 30% of their budget on advertising, okay? When you think about that amount of money, that means you have 30% higher costs in terms of the tuition. We're really trying to figure out a way to hack the social networks so that we don't have a ginormous advertising budget. We're not we're not going to be doing a venture round for funding and then spending $1 million on a Super Bowl ad. That would be irresponsible. We're going to grow this responsibly, and hopefully we'll get soon to an exponential growth curve. But we're not. We've got to hack this. We've got to do the marketing by word of mouth, one mind at a time, rather than thinking that there's going to be a shortcut with a billboard in Times Square or a Super Bowl ad. Not going to happen. Now, of course, if Rolando wants to put a Palermo's logo on his soccer jersey, okay, we're all for it. But I don't think FIFA will allow that.
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo.
Yeah, Ronaldo. Is that not what I said, or did I say Rolando?
Yeah.
Well, okay, there goes my credibility in the football world. But yeah, we're trying to keep. We are working hard to keep the costs down, so we really understand what's going on, and so that we can keep the cost to students low and the money going out to faculty as high as possible. And we only do that by existing in a world of constraints. So go out there and one mind at a time. That's what we're trying to do here. So anything? I don't think there's anything else on the agenda. Although expect later on this week a email update if you're subscribed to a Palermo's updates, and those will also be posted on the blog on our website. And
of course we also I've been posting recently to anything that we do to Instructor as well, so that there's a central place there. So you can any updates. I think you have a blog coming up, Rob. And
yep.
There's probably something coming from Dan and from me as well. So expect to find those via Instructor and Canvas in your mailbox as well.
Yeah, I wrote a really read a really interesting book that was given to me by my dad called Excellent Sheep, which has come out in the States about higher ed, and wrote a letter to the author, and he replied back. We're not going to put his reply back because he's very busy with some other stuff. But yeah, it's really, really interesting. People are starting to do that critique of traditional higher ed and asking, well, does it really do what it's purporting to do about educating people to become, free citizens and for jobs and for, the good life and yeah, it's a great book. So Excellent Sheep. Take a look at it. All right, let's go to, I think that's it for today. And so long.
Okay, and thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Remember that we have, is it this side? I have Decision 14. Click on that one in the recording. A great course. I think we discussed it last time. I was very interested, and of course, Carl Trapman. Even if you don't see the watch course, read that piece of his on BuzzFeed. You'll be convinced to take the course. It's absolutely hilarious. And that's all from us. We thank you very much for watching. And I think all that remains to say is...
See you online.
See you online. Bye-bye.
Bye.